Thank you for joining me live from the grooming table. I am Amy Lee, certified professional pet groomer since 2003, but it is absolutely my pleasure to share with you the secrets of the pet grooming industry so you can provide quality care for your beloved pets at home. That's what we do right here every Monday at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, live from the grooming table. One of my goals here on my YouTube channel is to bring a new voice to the pet grooming industry. One that includes pet owners as valuable consumers and not just professional pet groomers. And together we have all been doing an awesome job of that here on Go Groomer. Together it's great. Tonight's topic, this is wonderful. You guys are going to be happy. Tonight's topic is mistakes you make while giving your dog a haircut. You're probably thinking, wow, that could be 1 million things, right? Well, we're going to try to cover all 1 million of those topics tonight. We'll see. The mistakes you make while giving your dog a haircut can easily be corrected. Your clipper's not broke. Your blade's not dull. It may be, but it's probably not. And your dog's coat may not be properly prepared for trimming. So how would you know this? By the time we're done watching this live stream together, guys, I'm hoping that you'll have all the answers to these questions and many, many more answers to other questions too. So after listening to your comments, I knew I needed to address a few issues. Many of you are struggling with this, which is, hey, something's up with my clipper. Did I get the wrong clipper? Why doesn't my blade go through the coat? These are the things you guys are struggling with. So I'm here to help you tonight, guys, I promise. I'm going to show you a few things while I talk, things we're going to be covering tonight. Why your clipper seems like it isn't working properly. Well, the coat may not be brushed and cleaned. That's possible. We're going to talk about that. That may be the only problem that you're facing, guys, and you just don't realize it. Are you using the correct tools to give your dog a haircut, such as a detachable blade dog clipper, or definitely a slicker brush for a dog, or a metal grooming comb? And are you using these tools properly? Does it seem like your clipper blade is dull, but it's brand new? So I hear this a lot from you guys, and I just want to jump through the internet and help you. When I get these comments, I have a feeling I know exactly what's going on. It seems like my blade's dull. It's brand new. Can you easily get a comb through your dog's coat before you go to trim the dog? That's very important. If not, the clipper blade will not go through the coat as well as a comb. If the comb won't go through, the clipper blade won't go through, guys. And that's regardless of which detachable clipper blade or clipper that you're using. Is it the Walk KM10? Is it the Andis 2-speed? Is it the Oster 5? You know, it doesn't matter if the coat is not properly prepared, guys. You're not going to get through it. If you can get a comb through it, you're ready to rock and roll. So that's one thing I really, really am going to stress here tonight, guys. And hopefully we're all going to walk out of here with a better understanding of that, okay? How do you determine if your dog is matted or if your dog's coat is in the proper condition for trimming? How do you determine that? The coat must be cleaned. It must be conditioned. It must be brushed carefully while the coat is still wet after bathing. That's a real industry secret. And that's the best way to prepare your dog's coat for clipping, honestly, guys. I want to throw another little video up here real quick. I want you guys to take a look at this. You know, this is showing us that our comb must go through the coat, or the clipper will not go through the coat. It's very important that you guys understand this. You may look at your dog and not see what a groomer says is a matted coat, but it obviously is if you can't get a comb through it. And just like this, with ease, then you're ready to clip, guys. Trust me, it's that simple. I'm gonna give you all of my information tonight to get you there, okay? I promise. What can you do to have a successful grooming session with your dog at home? The first thing you can do is follow my 11 steps to groom any dog. The video is linked in the description below. It's a video on my channel, and it's one of my favorite videos because I can direct you guys there, and I know it will help you. So also, there's a free downloadable PDF that you can have for yourself those 11 steps and sort of follow them. Once you're very familiar with following those steps to the groom, you won't have to think about them anymore. It'll just be ingrained in your mind. Like me, because I've groomed so many dogs, and like many of you have too. But until you have ingrained those steps to the groom in your brain, you're going to be slower, you're going to forget steps, you're going to possibly not perform some of the steps properly too. So just remember, guys, as you're starting out, as you're a beginner, as you're a novice, these things get better. I promise you that. I want to throw this in the chat real quick and let you guys know if you do have a question, because I will be getting to your questions. You know I will. If you do have a question, I need you to put a line through it so that it stands out to me, or I won't be able to see those questions because the chat's busy, guys. So I want to make sure that I help you out, okay? So let's get into it. Let's talk about a few of these things. Why your clipper seems like it isn't working properly? Well, I think that was a really good video that I threw up there. That is also a clip of a video that I'm going to be releasing. I wanted it to be released already, but it isn't ready. So hopefully in the next day or so, it will be released. It's going to be a good one, start to finish cockapoo. Very tight, curly poodle coat, though. It's going to be great for you guys. So how do you know if your dog's, what you're thinking your clipper's broke? That's what I'm hearing from you guys a lot. My clipper's broke. I got the Wall KM10. It just came. I went to clip my dog, and it's not working. It makes noise, but it's not cutting the hair. Guys, if you can't get this comb through your dog's coat, the blade will not go through your dog's coat. Or a snap-on comb, especially. I forgot to grab one. Let me grab a snap-on comb. I need to show you what I'm talking about. It's very important. Okay, I'm going to try not to trip over all my wires in the shop as I have a live stream set up. This is a snap-on comb, guys. This goes over a number 10 blade. We've talked about this many times. This is our detachable blade clipper. Mine happens to be a Wall KM10. That's my favorite clipper. You just seat your blade. This is a 10 blade. Right on the blade latch, turn your clipper on, and let the clipper attach to the drive inside. So that's how we get our 10 blade on. We use a 10 blade or a 30 blade underneath our snap-on combs. The reason for these snap-on combs is to leave length, okay? I'm going to explain that to you in a minute. I'm going to explain that in detail. So, oh, I forgot to show you that. So as we just put these little hooks, just seat it right on the back of your 10 blade. See, it's just gently. You don't have to force anything. If you have to force it, you're doing it wrong. Push forward gently and it will attach right here to your blade. Now we've just taken a 10 blade, which is a very short clip, and we've given it, this happens to be, I'll show you, 3/4 of an inch of a clip, okay? So that's what this particular snap-on comb is going to leave, 3/4 of an inch, which is about that much coat, approximately. And you can see that that is about the size from here to here. That is how much length of coat this snap-on comb is going to length. It's very nice for a pet trim. Now, if I can't get my comb through the dog's coat before I clip it, this, which is also a comb, is not going to go through that coat. And you're going to think, my blade is dull. My clipper's not working. Because you'll go in the coat and it will just stop. But it can't go through a dirty or a matted or an unkept coat. It will not. It will clip badly. You want your coat to be primed for clipping, as you saw with Diesel. I'll throw this up here again for you guys. You can see her coat right now is not primed for clipping. I can't even get a comb through it. That would be impossible for me to expect anything other than maybe a 10 or a 7 blade to get through her coat. But it's cold. I don't want to take her that short. I'm trying to leave her coat the length of a number 4 blade, and it is just not going well. This is what I need to see. This is the type of coat. This is how it's prepped, guys. Now we can trim a dog. It has to be like that. And I'm going to tell you how we get it there. We cannot just grab our clipper, grab our blade, and grab our dog and go start giving them this wonderful haircut and say, I want to leave a little length on my dog. You can't. It has to be prepped right. And you guys know I have a lot of videos on my channel showing you exactly how to prep the coat. And most every full groom on my channel, depending on what breed, there's all different breeds, shows you how I prep the coat first, because I want you guys to know how important that is before you can clip your dog. So let me just take a look at my notes and make sure I'm not forgetting to tell you guys anything, because it's very important to me that I don't lose you in this conversation and I don't confuse you either. Okay, are you using the right tools for the haircut? That's another thing. If you're doing any type of trimming on most any size dog, guys, other than a very, very tiny petite dog, if that's the case, you can get away with our favorite little Kenchi Flash here. This guy is wonderful to use on a Yorkie, a Maltese, even a toy poodle, something very, very tiny. But you must use the included guard combs that come with the Kenchi Flash to leave any length. The 5-in-1 clipper sizes only goes down to a number 10 blade, number 9 blade. You can see that. That's too short to clip the body. You need to use the attachment combs that come with this. And the Kenchi Flash has specific combs. You guys know that go with this clipper. They're the only ones that will fit it. So other than any of those little tiny teeny weeny dogs that we're trimming, we're gonna have to use a professional dog clipper. And yes, it must be a dog clipper. It is different than clippers for human hair. It is much different. Okay, it also, the angle of the clipper and the blade is different than it is for humans. It's lighter weight, it's quieter, and it's more powerful, because obviously going through a dog's coat, it needs to have more power than if we were just going through human hair. You know, so you must be using a dog clipper. This is a detachable blade. What do I mean when I say detachable blade clipper? That means you have a release, which is this button right here. You have a release for your clipper blade, and you can switch it to a different blade. This is a number 4. I can switch it. Turn your clipper on. Just let the clipper seat itself. This number 4, you can see, is a different size than this number 10. Now I'm going to turn them sideways. Can you see? Oh, this is really hard for me. Can you see the difference in the 4 blade and the 10 blade? In other words, this distance right here, that's showing you that this blade is leaving a little bit of length, a good bit more than a 10 blade would. So if you can't get a comb through the dog, then this part of the blade can't glide through the coat to get to the clipper edge, which is right here. So it's very important to understand a metal grooming comb is what you need, a metal dog grooming comb. If you can get that through your dog's coat, then this clipper will go through it. And I don't mean if you can force it through. If you can force it through, it's not good enough. And you can't just brush and comb your dog before you clip them. You must wash them, brush and comb them, and they must be dry. So I think it's important for me to say that. I want a couple more things I want to say, and I'm jumping right to you guys and your questions. There was something I had noted here that I wanted to tell you guys. Okay, I want to show you guys the difference between the blade sizes, the different blades, and the snap-on comb sizes. So we can buy these snap-on combs. These are my favorite. They're the Wall stainless steel. I really like them because they don't pop off easily, and they also they go through the coat nicer than the plastic ones. They ride through the coat much nicer than the plastic snap-on combs. So obviously you can get these in all different sizes. You can see this is an A comb. It's a 3/4 of an inch. That's approximately the length of coat that it's going to leave, okay? Now, if there again, here from the bottom of this comb to the cutting edge of the blade, the number 10 blade would be riding right here. this has to be able to glide through your dog's coat to leave this much length. If you can't get a comb through your coat like that, all the way to the skin, with one glide like this, not like this, like this, then this is not going to go through, and you're going to think my blade's dull or my clipper doesn't work. You know, I hear you guys saying that all the time, and that's what you think, and I can understand that. But what I'm here to tell you tonight is the coat is not ready for clipping, and that's the problem. It's that simple, guys. It's just that simple. So what I like to do the best way to prepare your dog's coat, obviously, is to keep your dog brushed out. I would brush your dog at least once a week, even if he's not a long-haired breed, or if his hair's only that long, or if he may be a long-haired dachshund and he doesn't have a ton of hair, he still needs to be brushed out once a week. Trust me, you're stimulating blood flow to the skin, which creates a healthier coat. It's all good. You're exfoliating the skin by massaging it with the brush. And you want to be gentle. You never want to be aggressive with your brushing habits. And I have plenty of videos to help you guys on my channel if you're not sure what I'm talking about in anything that I'm referencing tonight, whether that's brushing techniques, bathing techniques, shampoo dilutions. Those are all very important things when it comes to properly preparing your dog for grooming. So dilutions of your shampoo is very important. A lot of them, if they are dilutable, then that means they're meant to be diluted. That's how they perform best in your dog's coat. If you choose not to dilute them, you use them full strength, you're not only wasting product, but you're gumming up your dog's coat, so it is not going to clip nice. It's not going to be properly prepared. Plus, your dog technically isn't even going to be as clean as he's supposed to be because the shampoo couldn't release its foaming boost powers and all that stuff because it wasn't diluted. It's meant to be diluted. So I'm very, very happy to share this information with you guys because it's important. When I talk about slicker brushes, I mean this type of brush right here, guys. And I hear a lot of people saying in the comments, my dog doesn't like that slicker brush. My dog doesn't like that one with all the pins in it. I understand. My golden doodle doesn't exactly like his legs to be brushed all the time either, so I have to be very delicate in those areas. You have to be delicate when you're brushing your dog. There is such a thing as brush burn. If you're too aggressive, you can actually irritate the skin, and it feels like a carpet burn, like you drug your arm across the carpet when you were little and you used to do weird things and crawl across the floor like a cat and a dog. But yeah, we all did it. You know you did it. That's brush burn, carpet burn. That's the same thing as if we're too aggressive with our brushing. And it can lead to other problems if you're very aggressive with your brushing or with tools like rakes or mat splitters or even furminators, carding tools, stuff like that. You can hurt the skin. And the skin is the largest organ in your dog's body. So please be careful of it. But understand that it really needs to be cared for as well. So I hear you guys. My dog doesn't like a slicker brush. So it's your job to change your dog's mind, whether that be with the type of techniques you're using or a different setup for how you brush your dog. Maybe you're sitting on the floor and the dog doesn't feel that that's where he likes to be brushed because he feels like he can get away. He's going to do that. Maybe you need to invest in an inexpensive portable grooming table just for brushing your dog. Even if you take your dog to a professional groomer, you still need to brush your dog. Plus, your dog and yourself together performing any type of grooming tasks are going to bond even more. You're just increasing the bond with your dog because you're caring for them and you're doing something with them that barely anybody else in the world does with them. So it's a sacred thing, you know, grooming your dog. So get them used to a slicker brush. They may decide that they like other slicker brushes better than others. This is a small Kenchi one. This is one of my favorites. It's a good brush. It is a little bit on the soft, but yet aggressive. It will pull out dead coat. You have to remove the dead coat. And I don't mean shedded coat, because not all breeds shed, but all breeds have dead coat in their coat, meaning they are rejuvenating new hair from their follicles all the time, just like us. That is not shedding hair, it's losing hair. And it's normal, and it's across the board for every breed, guys. They regenerate new hair. It may be hanging in the coat if you don't brush it out. It's that simple. So that's how mats form, is by not brushing out the dead hair in your dog. And when mats form, you can either demat a dog, and that takes experience to compassionately and effectively be able to demat a dog. That is a job for a professional groomer, because they have the right tools, they have the right knowledge, and they know the methods and techniques to safely demat a dog. And a groomer also can look at a dog and get in there and take a look with a comb and a brush and assess immediately if they think that they can safely and humanely get through the mats on the dog. Otherwise, they're going to tell you right then and there, I have to shave this with either a 10 or a 7, because a 10 or a 7 blade is the only thing that's going to get between the mat and the skin. A 4 blade is not. A 4 blade has way too much length of cutting edge here till it reaches the cutting edge, and it can't get through there. Or 5 blade pretty much can't either, which is pretty short in my opinion. So I want you guys to know that the different sizes on your guard combs are what leave the length. Your different sizes on your blades are what leave the length of coat. And if your coat is not clean and brushed and dry, you won't be able to get anything other than a 7 or a 10 blade through your dog, and that's a short haircut, and that's not what most people want. Some people do, and that's okay, but not everybody does. So I want to stress that. So you always see me, if you watch any of my videos or any of my live streams where I am grooming a dog, you always will see me brushing them after I have bathed, conditioned, and rinsed them and toweled them off. You will always see me brushing them on the table, because right before I'm drying them or while the stand dryer is on them, because the hair, the coat, has elasticity in it when it's wet. It's stronger. It's also easier to slide the dead coat out of the good coat when the coat is clean and wet. It has a little bit of elasticity to it too, so we're not going to damage the coat. But that is very important if you're wondering, do you go to town brushing your dog before you wash your dog? You do want to brush your dog a bit, and you want to keep them brushed out in between baths, yes. But you're really going to get the more effective brushing action and dematting and removing dead hair when your dog is on the table, he's clean, he's conditioned, and he's still wet. And then you're going to brush him. But just remember, when their skin is wet, it is more delicate because it's softer, because it's wet from the bath. So you have to really be sure of your brushing techniques and that you're properly brushing your dog. So, questions? Let's go. Let's get chatty. All right, let me scroll up. Let me see if I can not forget anybody. There must be a line in front of your question, a line, so I can see it, guys. Otherwise, I might miss it, and I don't want to do that. I want to try to get it. Davina says, got my Kenchi Flash Special with the extra blades. Oh, yes. And was wondering, what is the slim line? Good question. The slim line 4-in-1. I think they call it a detailer blade as well. So if you get that combo set of the Kenchi Flash, you will get the regular standard 4-in-1 blade, which is this. And when you get that combo, you're also going to get a 4-blade, 5-blade, 7-blade, and a 3-blade, and a detailer blade. That is, the distance between these little teethies here is even tighter. It gives you a finer trim. It's really nice, Davina, for poodle faces, for Cocker Spaniel faces, because it leaves a very, very plush, velvety finish. If you're shaving poodle feet, you're probably going to want the regular 4-in-1 that came with your Kenchi Flash for poodle feet, for sanitary areas. But when you're talking about face trimming, you're going to like that fine detailer blade. It just makes it smooth, really smooth. You may go through it here with this first and then add that blade on just to make sure that the poodle face has no lines, it's just perfect. That's what it's for, Davina. The slim or detailer blade, I think they call it, is just to ensure that when you clip a face of a Cocker Spaniel or Poodle, that it's nice and smooth and very pretty. Good question, because a lot of people probably wonder the same thing. Now, let me keep moving on here, guys. I love that you are all chatty. Oh, look how chatty you guys are. I love it. Alyssa, or Elisa, says, what blade should I use on my mini toy Aussie? Well, really shouldn't be giving an Aussie a haircut. And if you just mean in the pads of feet, you would use a 10 blade. In the private areas, if you're cleaning up around the bum or the privates to keep that cleaner, you would use a 10 blade only. That's a very safe blade to use in those areas. But I will tell you, Alyssa, you do not trim an Aussie or a double-coated dog. If you haven't yet trimmed your dog, please don't do it. They're made to have that coat. They have a double coat, and it has a very, very important job. The undercoat is what kind of filters and protects the skin. The top coat protects the undercoat, so the undercoat can do its job. It's very important, Elisa, not to take that coat off of your Aussie, okay? I have a video on my channel that's Can tools damage your dog's coat? Please watch that video. It's me grooming a Bernese Mountain Dog who has the same coat style as your dog, but on a much larger scale. And I want you to understand why I want you to groom your dog just like that, okay? So I hope that helps you, Elisa. That's what we're all here for, is to help each other. Linda says, what is the best shampoo for your dog? Really, Linda? You know, I don't have one single favorite. I mean, don't you have multiple products you love to use for your hair? Geez, that's a tough one. What is the best shampoo for your dog? Whew. The best shampoo for your dog is a shampoo that is made for a dog, first of all, because it's properly pH balanced. So that I will say. But I have many favorites. If you don't want to go wrong, go with a hypoallergenic puppy shampoo, because you know it's gentle enough, but it cleans well. So if I had to say, that's one of the safest, most reliable shampoos to wash your dog with, I'd say a hypoallergenic puppy shampoo is best, because it is so gentle, but it cleans well. So there's my answer, Linda, on that one. That's what I'm going to say. And Hyman says, what is the best paw trimmer for a 25-pound dog? I really love the 4-in-1, 5-in-1 clippers, to be honest with you. The Kenchi Flash is great. It is a 4-in-1 clipper, and it does have a 10 blade and a 15 blade, which is what you would trim the pads, maybe a 30 if you're careful. But also Arco, which is made by Wall, it's A-R-C-O, Arco. They make a much less expensive 4-in-1 trimmer for feet. They also make a mini, which only is for feet, not privates, because it's a 30 blade. So I'd say the Arco by Wall would be your best bet for that. And it works very nicely too. And it's quiet and it's comfortable for your dog, okay? So great question. Sandra says, what causes dogs to feel greasy? That's a great question too. Just bathed an old dog, never been bathed for a long time. Washed him twice. Now he feels greasy on the neck and the withers. Well, one thing I can say, Sandra, about that is the way shampoo works is shampoo is made to break down the oils and the dander and the buildup, which is basically what causes your dog to be greasy, is oils from the coat, oils from our hands too, when mom and dad pet their dogs all the time. Some dogs, if they have a little bit of imbalance in their skin, they're going to produce more oils, so they're going to be even more greasy. So one of the best things to do for that is to have mom and dad regularly slicker brush their dog, because like I just said earlier, that balances the skin and coat. It also exfoliates the dead skin. It encourages blood flow to the skin and coat, which increases healthier skin and coat, is what it does, basically. So if dogs are really greasy, I would suggest that with mom and dad. Give them a quick little show and share lesson on how to brush, the brushing technique that's safe for their dog, and try to get them started on that at home and explain to them why. Explain to them what I just said. That's why we're doing this, because it's increasing blood flow to the dog's skin. It's exfoliating the dog's skin. It's all good for them. Plus, it's removing dead hair. So that can really be causing greasiness. Now, shampoos are made to break down the oils and dirt and stuff, but sometimes we are, here again, this is the perfect one for tonight's topic, mistakes you make with bathing your dog. Sometimes we are not using our shampoos properly. Now, what do I mean by that? If you're really wetting down your dog's coat a lot, let's say you have a greasy dog. If you're really wetting down the coat a lot before you start shampooing the dog, you have already initiated the water as the first thing that is introduced to the dog's coat, to the cuticle on the hair itself. I know this is getting technical. This is a whole new video. We could do a video on this. But what I want to tell you is, for those cases of dogs that are really greasy, try to dilute your shampoo and water, whether it's in a mixing bottle, you know how we do. These mixing bottles are wonderful. Whether it's in a mixing bottle or in a small little bucket or a Tupperware bucket, bowl, anything, okay? And your loofah, if you don't use a bathing system. You know I use the Prima bathing system, which already takes care of this for me. So what I'm telling you is, apply the shampoo and the water first. The mixture of the diluted shampoo with water. Apply that to the coat first. Work it into the skin and coat. Then add a little bit of water from your sprayer if you need to release a little bit more of that cleaning power from your shampoo. If the shampoo is the first thing that gets in the coat, it's going to be able to strip those oils and dirt and everything out of the coat quicker than if we pre-rinse them with water. I hope that makes sense. Sandra, that might be what you need to try. Now with my Prima bathing system, I'm spoiled because that's how the Prima bathing system works. We don't pre-wet the dogs. We add the shampoo, the water, the foam, we call it the foam, right on the coat as soon as we get them in the tub, because that shampoo is the first thing that's going to come in contact with the dirt, and it's going to start breaking it down right away. So that's a big, good secret too. Now we have Sadikita, I'm not sure, and if I mispronounced your name, please forgive me. It says, hello everyone, I have a question for you guys and Amy. If she could possibly answer, I want to start using Bark to Basics shampoo and conditioner for my 2 golden doodles. Are they good? Yes, I use Bark to Basics quite often in my shop. I love the Bark to Basics One Step Silky. I like that one. They also make a really concentrated, heavier concentrated, what's it called? Grimy Dog or something. I don't know. That's nice. I do love their products. They're natural, biodegradable. They're good products. And I can tell you, they clean very well. I really like the way they perform in my Prima bathing system. I like the way Bark to Basics performs in my Prima bathing system a lot. It's one of my top choices of what I use in my grooming salon. They also make a really good hypoallergenic, non-scented, no dyes. That's a great shampoo. Cleans fantastic. So you betcha. Bark to Basics is A+ in my book. And it's affordable, good products. So I love them. Terry says, discussions. How do you decide either to use a blade or a snap-on comb? How to decide what type of trim or cut? That's a big question. Let me see if I can narrow this down and can kind of compress it into a smaller answer for you. First thing I do when I'm going to trim a dog, I'm looking at the dog. I decide what type of coat type this is. Obviously, I need to know what breed is this. Let's say I'm working with a sporting breed. Let's say I'm working on a Cocker Spaniel or Springer Spaniel or a Field Spaniel, okay? I know I've got a bit of a wavy drop coat, so I'm wondering, would a blade perform better in this coat or would a snap-on comb perform better in this coat? And for me, I prefer snap-on combs because I feel I can just follow the wave of the coat much easier with a snap-on comb, and it's a little more forgiving than, say, a 4-blade is going to, in my opinion, I feel like a 4-blade is more difficult on that type of coat to leave a nice finished clipping look. I tend to go for snap-on combs. And one way you find out what you prefer, Terry, is just by experience. Whenever I groom any dog, to this day, I'm talking about from all the way back in 2003 to this day, I critique my work on every dog after I'm done. I'll look at that groom and I'll go, shoot, I wished I would have used a 4-blade on that instead of that number 5 snap-on comb or whatever. You know, honestly, critique your work. You know when you go to set out to groom a dog, you know in your mind what you're hoping it's going to turn out like. If it doesn't, then figure out what you did that you could do differently, you know. So that's how I decide, am I going to use a blade, am I going to use a snap-on comb, and how to decide what type of trim or cut. That's an excellent question, and I have a real quick answer for that, and it doesn't need to be lengthy. When I decide what type of trim or cut to put on a dog, I first of all need to know, what is this breed? Is it a Shih Tzu? Well, a Shih Tzu technically doesn't have a pet trim. We give them pet trims. They're actually supposed to be in full coat. But I'm a pet groomer. The Shih Tzu's here to get a pet trim. So I am just going to basically, a pet trim is, you pick the size and length of snap-on comb and you do the body and the legs with that length. You can do the body with one length and the legs with a longer snap-on comb too, to give it more of a prettier, elegant look. But the first thing you must do is assess what breed it is. You know the Shih Tzu's head is supposed to be round and pretty, full ears. So let's say I'm dealing with now a Shih Tzu mix. But I look at the Shih Tzu and I'm like, he's a Shih Tzu mix. He's a Shih Tzu mix with a poodle, let's say. And I go, okay, does he look like a Shih Tzu? No, this dog actually doesn't. He has a very long muzzle like a poodle. He doesn't have big bulgy eyes like a Shih Tzu. He has these beautiful little almond-shaped eyes like a poodle. So when I look at that, I just go, he's striking me as a poodle. He looks more poodly. So his trim, his cut, is going to resemble a poodle a little more than it would a Shih Tzu. And I look at all mixed breeds like that. If I have a schnoodle, which is a schnauzer and a poodle, is the body stature that of a schnauzer? Yes. Then I'm feeling like I want to put a complementary trim on him that complements his schnauzer look. Does he have a poodle coat, or is he just a soft coat like a silver schnauzer, you know? So assessing the groom, Terry, is how I decide what trim I'm going to put on the dog, assessing what that dog looks like. And we groom a lot of mixed breeds. And guys, that goes for doodles. They're mixed breeds. So we groom a lot of mixed breeds. So take a look at it, see what breed it resembles, and that's the basis of your haircut, okay? So we have another question from Allegris Felice. That's hard to say, and I hope I didn't botch up your name. Question is, why do I get an uneven finish on a clean and brushed coat? I'm using a 2-inch snap-on comb. That's large, and a KM10 on a Catan, I can't say it anyway. I know what it is. Looks like a little Bichon, but it isn't. Okay, so why are you getting? I'll tell you why. Because their coat has a little bit of a drop coat, if I'm correct, right? A little bit of a wave, not like a poodle coat, not like a Bichon coat. So snap-on comb and blade trimming is difficult to get a very pretty look with snap-on comb and a drop coat, because you've really just got to kind of scoop off length on a dog like that with your snap-on comb, and you really got to tighten it up with your scissor work. That breed definitely kind of requires a little bit of scissor work, and that's where you're not finding yourself to be happy, honey. I don't know if you're not doing enough scissor finishing work to go back. You know, that scissor over comb technique that I like to do. I like to raise the hair up. You can use a little anti-static spray in there, scissoring spray, get the hair standing up. If you see it's uneven, then you just use your thinning shears, and you don't go down into the coat. You scissor off with your thinning shears what shouldn't be there, and it makes a very nice finish. It's hard to get a perfect finished look with a snap-on comb. I've always got to go back over, comb up the coat, and scissor some of that off. We just got a super chat from Terry. You are so getting saluted. Oh my goodness. What am I going to do with you? Thank you so much for that, Terry. Did it go? Where's my super chat? No, it didn't. Okay, I'll get it. There it is. There it is. Thanks, Terry. I hope I helped you. I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys ask the questions you do, because they help everybody. Don't forget that. Ah, you crazy kids, you crazy kids. All right, now you got me all, I forget what I was talking about. Anyway, the snap-on combs, got to use some blending shear. Blending shear for sure is going to tidy that up for you. Okay, Anna says, hi, Amy. Finally, I'm awake. Oh, it's probably late. It's 11:30 p.m. in Sweden. Anna's joining us from Sweden. Thank you, Anna. I hope you're still with us and you didn't fall asleep. Question is, if I get a dog with fleas, what should I do? How do I handle the situation, and how do I clean my tools, and so on? Great question. I think, now this is my opinion, the days of dealing with fleas in a grooming shop should be no more, unless we're doing rescue work. Obviously, a lot of rescue dogs are coming from a bad situation, and we are going to find animals with fleas. So other than that, I think it's very important that you insist that your clients do some type of flea preventative method for their pets before you agree to groom them, okay? That just be part of your procedures. If you have a few fleas, it's not going to be the end of the world, but I want to tell you this, Anna. If you do get a dog in, you weren't aware that they had the fleas, and you get them in the tub, and now you're seeing the fleas. I'm turning something off here. Hold on. I want you to let that shampoo sit, and it can be any shampoo. You don't have to just say, it has to be a flea shampoo to kill them. Any shampoo. Get the shampoo in the coat, lather that dog up hot and heavy, and let it sit on the dog, because it will suffocate the live fleas that are on the dog, and it will kill at least the live fleas for now. The next thing I want you to do is not force dry the dog, because obviously if there's live fleas, there's flea eggs on the dog too, and when you're force drying, you're blowing those flea eggs all over your shop, and it's just a nightmare. Meaning they're going to hatch tomorrow, the next day, or next month. So what I like to do first is, if I'm seeing any symptoms of fleas on a dog, I like to try to get them back out the door and say, you have to treat them, and then, you know, no, I don't want to see the dog until about a month from now, because I want to make sure that the problem is not going to be a problem for the other pets that I groom. And, you know, just say to the owner, I'm sure you can understand that, because you wouldn't want that for your dog either, you know. So you just got to be as careful as you can, Anna. But if you do get a dog that sneaks by you, has fleas, don't force dry the dog, please don't. You'll blow all those eggs all over your shop. Let the shampoo sit on the dog in the tub. As far as your tools go, with rinse them in hot water for sure. Your brushes, your blades, if you're using blades, we use Andis Cool Care, and definitely sanitize our blades after we groom every dog anyway. You can also buy these little UV, they look like little toaster ovens, and you can put your tools like your brushes, your combs, and your blades in there that has a UV lights that kills anything that would be a problem. So and then obviously if you have a dog in with fleas, honey, you're gonna have to really spray and vacuum your shop, because you're trying to vacuum up any flea eggs. You don't want to have any of his siblings hatching tomorrow or the next day. And A. Dunham says, when using the KM10 and the 10 blade and stainless steel combs, the coat is brushed and cleaned. Sometimes the comb catches the fur at the last outside edge. Okay. Am I going too fast, doing something wrong? Sometimes you have to take this blade off, and you need to keep a blade brush or a toothbrush. So you're clipping, and you're like, oh, it's not clipping nicely. It doesn't look good anymore. You have to remove this and take all the hair particles out that is getting stuck from their clippings, what you've already clipped. They get packed in here. They're also going to get packed in your 10 blade. I have a 4 blade on. They're also going to get packed in your 10 blades. So you need to take that toothbrush and clean that out too, or a force dryer and blow all that out. Reseat your snap-on comb and start clipping again. That's probably the problem, I would say. Your blade and your snap-on comb are getting packed with hair, the hair that's already been clipped off the dog. And it's very common, it happens all the time. I have to do this so many times in a groom. Say when I'm doing Diesel, I probably unpack my blade 10 times. Just to be safe and get the nicest trim on him that I can. And our question earlier with the Catan, that could be the problem. Your blade is packing. I didn't think about that. I'm so glad. See how we help each other? I'm so glad somebody else asked the question. Okay, Jane says, when I clipped my Schnauzer with a 5 in reverse on his back, the clipper would not glide through the coat and cut. Would not glide through and cut. I did all the prep steps with combing in between like you taught me. What did I do wrong? If it wouldn't, I'd say that it might be the angle that you were clipping. Were you holding it up like this? It should glide right along, moving the skin in front of the blade. You don't want to clip it like, your clipper shouldn't be like this. I would say maybe it had to do with your clipping method, technique, how you were using the clipper, because you basically want to lift the coat. If your 5 in reverse wasn't working for you, if you have a 7, you can do 7 with the lay of the coat instead of in reverse, and that looks really nice on a Schnauzer too. Could have been your blade dulling, needed cleaned. It could be packed with hairs. It could be any of those reasons. But before you assume it's dull, you clean your blade, you depack it with hair particles, and check your method of how you're using your clipper before you ever assume that it's a dull blade. If it's a dull blade, it's going to feel like it just sat in the coat and it's going nowhere. That's what a dull blade feels like. All right, so hopefully that helps you, Jane. All right, and Renee says, if the dog is matted and you can't get mats out pre-bath, do you bathe first? Yes, if you can't get the mats out, if it's a severely matted dog, I will pre-clip, because I know I'm going to be taking that down with a 7 blade. If the dog was allowed to become severely matted, then somebody doesn't know how to care for the dog at home, which means if you would go through the trouble of dematting that dog and the time and the money it's going to cost the owner is only going to allow the dog to get in that condition again. And that's no way to live. Mats feel like somebody's pulling your hair all the time. That's how it feels to a dog. And that's an easy way for you to explain to the owner why you had no choice but to shave the dog with a 7, because the mats are painful to a dog. It feels like somebody's twisting their hair and holding it there. And as soon as you explain it to them that that's what a mat feels like, they understand. And hopefully they understand. If not, then, they must not be very nice people. So you do the right thing. But if the dog's coat's matted, yes. So often I will just go ahead and determine if I think I'm going to be able to demat this, or if I should just do pre-clipping right away and get that off the coat. Then I can get the skin really good and clean in the tub. That's what I do, Renee. Hopefully that helps you. If it's minor matting, go ahead and bathe them. You will be able to get that out when the coat's wet. If it's just minor. If it's severely, don't even think about trying, honey. It's just too much for you and the dog. Mindy says, so brushing every day is too much? No, it is not. I just use a brush similar to Little Gus. Okay, so use a boar bristle brush to get the leaves and the grass, off after walks. I do have a slicker brush that I use every other day so she doesn't mat. Absolutely, Mindy. You're just using your brushes as a tool. You take your dog out, it's got leaves and bark and mulch or whatever in the coat. You're just sloughing it off with that little brush that basically isn't brushing your dog. It's just removing debris off of it, but you still brush it with a slicker. You can brush your dog every day as long as you're being gentle and effective in your brushing techniques. So no, Mindy, go to town. You're doing fine. Absolutely. Linda says, can I see a picture of your golden doodle? How long do you keep his hair? I've had him in about every cut imaginable. Right now he's sitting right here. I don't think I have a picture that I can throw up on screen at the moment of Gus. He basically looks like a poodle right now. I always have him kind of in a poodle trim. That's just the way I like him because he looks like a poodle. He has a longer hair on his legs right now than he does on his body. His body has about probably close to an inch of coat on him. His legs maybe 2 to 3 inches of coat in places. So he's full. I like him full in the summer, in the winter especially, but in the summer he gets a shorter cut because he gets dirtier too. Owen says, how do you make a dog enjoy a force dryer? That's a good question, Owen, because I know a lot of them fear it. Don't forget, dogs' hearing is very intense. They have much stronger hearing than we do. So first thing you can do is obviously put cotton in their ears, right down in take your little hemostat, hook it right down in there as far as you can see. That dulls the sound, that high-pitched squeal of the force dryer that really bothers dogs. And this isn't a bad idea to do this for every dog you groom. Just don't forget that you have cotton in their ears. What I usually do, if I put cotton in a dog's ears, I set my hemostat on the table where I'm going to be doing my finishing work, and that tells me if my hemostat is sitting on the table, I've got cotton in the ears and I need to remove it. If I would put my hemostat back where I always do, then I wouldn't have any way to remind myself. So that is how one thing you can do. There's also happy hoodies work great, Owen, for swaddling as well as dulling the sound of the force dryer. And always start at the back of the dog and slowly work your way up. Never attack them at the head with the force dryer. Don't do it. But starting at the back gives them a little bit of a chance to be comfortable with it. Always try to keep them standing. It gives them confidence when they're standing. And keep a hand on them because it tells them that you're with them and that you didn't leave them. They're not in this alone. You're with them. I think that helps. Renee, you are something else. I swear, I swear, I swear. You're so getting saluted. Thank you, Renee, for the super chat. It's my pleasure to help. Renee says, thanks for all the tips. I know you love our pets and want to help us all. You bet I do. And we are doing it. We're doing it. We're doing a good job together. Thank you, Renee. It's my pleasure. All right, now, let me just take another look. Cynthia, hello, Cynthia. What about pre-clipping? The coat is not clean but brushed out. Good point. It's not clean. And you can see with BB, I'm going to throw this up here again. I'm going to talk. Pre-clip and BB. The only reason I wanted to pre-clip her is because she had so much coat. And I had to loosen up the hair a little bit with the brush just to get that fur in there between the nastiness of her coat and the skin. And I couldn't pre-clip all of her skin because there was areas that were matted. That definitely worked out as I bathed her and brushed her afterwards. But the reason I pre-clipped Cynthia, especially on a dog like BB that I just showed you, is because I want to get some of that nastiness off her coat so I can get her good and clean in the tub. I realize that I can't get a lot of coat off of her, because it still needs worked. It needs worked in the tub. It needs worked after the tub. But I just want to get a lot of it off as much as I can, so it's less drying time for her. It's less for her to deal with, less dematting. That's why if you're working with your dogs on a regular type schedule, Cynthia, you don't need to do any pre-trimming, really. If your dog is overdue for the haircut, that's usually when I like to take some of the coat off so that it shortens the length of the groom. That's the only reason I do it. That's the only reason I do it, and to be able to clean the coat better as I'm washing them. So that's a good question, one that many people have. Karen says, when brushing a wet coat, do you brush upward while blow drying that area, or can you dry out their skin? I usually always brush a dog in the lay of their coat. I always do. I brush with the lay of the coat, the way the hair lays. When you're using a stand dryer, this is a stand dryer. Can you see it? This is my stand dryer. Sorry, guys, I just scared the poop out of my drug my skin. Stand dryer across the floor. Okay, when you're using a stand dryer, don't forget that has a heated element in it. And if you just allow it to blast in one area of your dog and it's a little too close to the skin, that can really be too hot for them. You do have to keep moving the arm on your stand dryer and then fluff dry and then move it, fluff dry. And I also will move the dog. If I'm drying a leg, I'll kind of move the leg a little bit so it isn't always in the same direct airflow of that heated element dryer. So that's what, I hope that helps you, Karen. I hope that answered the question. I think I did. Okay, and Cynthia says, how can you tell if your dog is watered down enough? Before you wash the dog? Well, you just remember the shampoo is what's really going to be cleaning that dog. So I usually rinse the dogs a bit before I wash them if they have a lot of dander. But technically, you can just go right for the diluted shampoo and water in your mixing bottle on a dry coat when they get in the tub and put that in there and lather that in. If the shampoo is the first thing in contact with the coat, it's going to pull that grime out instantly. So after you wash your dog, over rinse, Cynthia, till the water runs clear. No more product is coming out of that dog. Over rinse your dog. When you think they're rinsed, rinse just a little more. It's very important to get all product out of your dog's coat because that's just going to have it build up quickly. It's going to have things stick to it. It's going to be, if all the product isn't out. So over rinse, over rinse, over rinse. Okay. Couple more questions here. Karen says, what is the direction of Bichon coat growth? Good question. It's thick like a sheep coat. Yes, it is. The direction of a Bichon coat, it's not a drop coat, so obviously it doesn't lay a certain way. The direction of a dog's coat, when I have a dog, here's their head, here's down their neck and their body. The head, neck, and body, that's the direction of the coat as far as I'm concerned. You're right about poodles and Bichons that have scissored coats. Their coat just grows straight out. But I brush down the dog, like from the head, neck, down the body, down the legs. That's how I brush a Bichon. It's how I brush all dogs. So I hope that helps, Karen. Maybe it helps you understand what I'm trying to explain, I hope. Janelle says, do have a video showing the clipping of the dew claws. If not, would you please? I sure do, Janelle. I have a couple, definitely do. I have 2 or 3 nail trimming videos, and all of them, I'm almost positive, show you how. Yes, I always trim the dew claws, so they would definitely show you. I also noticed oftentimes in a lot of my videos that I'm doing full grooms, I also show you that how I'm trimming the nails on those full grooms, like the Chubbs video, like my Cavajon video, my Maltese video, Golden Doodle videos. I still show you how I do the nail trimmings in those videos. So nail trims are in so many of my videos, Janelle, but I do have some really good detailed videos about just nail trimming, like 2 or 3. So hopefully you can find them in a search if you go to my channel. Dabina says, what are the set of numbers with the D below it on the left side of your Kenchi flash? Good question. Remember, was that you, Dabina, that asked me the question earlier about the detailer and the original blade? Hang on, let me see. Can you see the D? The D stands for detailer, and the S stands for, oh, I forget. But it's that finer blade. You know, the one that has the finer teeth? So it's saying that it cuts it slightly different if you're using the, oh no, standard. S is for standard. This is backwards. S is for standard, which is the blade that comes with it, the 4-in-1. And the D is for the detailer. And that cuts it a little shorter, as you can see. Whereas it was a 9, it's a 10 over here. It was a 10 over here, it's a 15 over here. That's the different, that detailer blade, the fine blade, Dabina. It's telling you that they are kind of slightly different. That's why they get a smoother cut on that finer blade. So that should help you. Good question. I'm sure everybody wonders that when they get that. Okay, and I got time for a couple more questions, hi guys, and then I'm going to have to take a breath. I'm getting exhausted. I hope this has been helpful. Okay, so let's see. Karen says, with a Bichon coat, what do I brush upwards with drying? Okay, I get what you're saying. What direction is the hair growth? Okay, I did answer that. It's hard to get a smooth finish with a snap-on comb. It's hard to get a smooth finish on a scissor-coated dog, so go in reverse with your snap-on comb. Up the legs, up the back of the neck too. On a Bichon or a Poodle, you're going to find it works better for you, Karen, if you go using your snap-on combs in reverse. Also, obviously, a hair vac system, clipper vac system is wonderful for getting an even cut on a dog. I don't know if you have one or not, but it's a great investment. I use the Hand V hair vac system, and I love it. So, you know, that's something you might want to put down on your wish list. Also, you said about the hair growth. Yes, when we're fluffing a dog, if you're fluffing up the fullness of the neck, you kind of do on a poodly dog or a Bichon, you want to go in the opposite direction to make that hair stand up. Same with up the coat, up the neck, and the top skull. Fluff drying, you could, in a poodle, yes, you go in all different directions when you're fluff drying a scissor coat. So hopefully that helps. Deborah says, I have oyster comb attachments. Could you please tell me what size I need to use for clipping a Chorky? I don't know what length your Chorky is, honey. I mean, is it a long coat? I don't know. I don't know. I can't say that there's a length for a Chorky. It's whatever length you want to maintain. You know, whatever length you want to brush. That's the best I can tell you. You choose. It's your choice. Hello from Argentina. Hello, Sin. Oh my God, this is wonderful. Argentina. This is great. Oh man, I love you guys. Aya has a question. How do you know when blades are dull and need to be sharpened? That's a good question, Aya. This is one of the things that I said in this topic tonight, mistakes you may make while clipping. A lot of people may think their blade is dull when it's really that the coat wasn't properly cleaned and brushed and prepared. The clipper can't go through it. So when your blade goes and gets dull, soon as you get it in the coat, it's going to feel like your clipper isn't even turned on. It's just going to stop and drag. You're not getting anything. And so what I would do, if you think your blade is dull, then you take it off. You get all hair particles out of it. You may even take your high velocity dryer and blow it clean. You can shift this side to side a little bit. You can get some oil in here. You want to oil here periodically, and you also want to oil here where the cutting edge is. So clean it, oil it, wipe the oil off, seat it back on your blade or your clipper, and try it again. If it still doesn't work, it's dull. That's what I do. So hopefully that helps you, Aya. I know, it's frustrating. Okay, Janelle says, Danica, Danica, something was retracted too. What the heck? So I can't even see your question. It says it's retracted. Okay. Danica, what blade should I use on my golden doodle? There again, honey, that depends on how much coat you feel like brushing and keeping clean in between grooms, okay? So I just want you to know that it's your choice what blade. I like to go for a 1/2 inch snap-on comb. I think that's a very manageable length on the body and the legs of a golden doodle. And then I would scissor trim the head or possibly use an E-comb to set the top length of the head and scissor the rest. So hopefully, Danica, that helps you with your golden doodle. Round of applause. Jules says, Amy, have you used them blow pins since you showed them to us? If so, were the pet parents happy? I only used it on one client because I didn't charge for it. I just did it. I kind of bought them to experiment with and to show you guys and to experiment with my Gus. And I did use it on a cute little Cavajon. She's mostly white. She has a little bit of charcoal colors in her. But I did her tail, and it was so cute. And she has a teenage sister, so I knew her teenage sister would love it. So Mom really loved it, thought it was really cool. So it's just not, I don't really push it. I could, but I don't. I think they work great, and I think they last for a couple days, and people just enjoy that. I also like that they don't stain, like their furniture, and as long as you let it dry. I like that. Okay. So one more question. Brandy, Amy, what do you think about wet clipping a coat? I don't do it because I don't want to rust out my blades. Sometimes if I want to get a mat out, I will go ahead and do that, and I'll just clean my blade up. But I don't wet clip dogs. I don't see a reason to. I like my coats to be prepared and ready to go when I trim them. I don't see a reason to wet trim. So I've never, ever made that part of my procedures. Maybe a mat or two, that's about it. Other than that, I'm not going to do it, Brandy. Not going to do it. Don't see a reason to. All right, guys. We're about to hit 50,000 subscribers probably in about 2 days. I don't want to thank you guys for that because it's you who grew this channel. And because the channel is growing, we can help more people. So, guys, I can only answer so many questions tonight, but I promise I will see you back here next Monday, and we'll have another hot, juicy topic and hopefully be announcing when we're going to have our 50,000 subscriber party with a Prima Bathing System Encore unit giveaway. I can't wait for a channel member. That's for channel members in the U.S. I will see you guys next Monday. Thank you for all this. Thank you for all the information you brought to the grooming table tonight, live to the grooming table. It's not the same without your questions, without you feeding this conversation and keeping it going. So have a great week. Have a great weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday. Look for my BB video this week. I'm hoping to release it in the next few days if I can just spend enough time to get it done. So I love you guys. Here's a subscriber showdown for you because you rock and so do your dogs. See you next Monday.